Yes Have Some podcast is brought to you by Karniverous Creations, your one-stop shop for all of your proton pack building needs. If you're in the market for a proton pack, head to karniverouscreations.com. That's Karniverous with a K. You're going to find aluminum motherboards, resin parts, fiberglass shells, and a whole lot more. Find them on Facebook at Karniverous Creations or head straight to karniverouscreations.com. Remember Karniverous with a K and get started on an authentic, screen-accurate proton pack.
Do you want some?
Jurassic Park. Now playing the PS7.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bumper, neutron blaster, and water zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
What?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Welcome to Yes Have Some podcast, episode 116. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I am here in Atlanta, Georgia, with my co-hosts, Abigail Gardner.
What's up, guys?
And Jacob Walsh.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
That was a weird one.
That was weird. You made
want
some.
to do it again?
What were those noises you just made?
It's fine. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I
just keep doing the Hereditary noise.
Abby's just clicking. Okay. Before we get going, we wanted to, for the first time, right off the bat, have Mike Nelson, who's on the line from Karniverous Creations, longtime, from the beginning, sponsor of Yes Have Some podcast, making, for what I have to say, the best Ghostbusters props in the business. Mm-hmm. You guys hear me at the top of every episode, but it's much more than proton packs. And we wanted to have him on and talk about what he's got going on, his new stuff, how he got started, and learn a little bit about the man that we've been plugging for 2 years. So, Mike, welcome to Yes Have Some for the first time.
Yes. Thank you very much, Craig, Abigail, everybody. I'm really honored to be here tonight and, talk with you guys.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely. So why don't we, for those of us in the Ghostbusters community, most people know your work because you've kind of become one of the leaders, if not the leader, as far as like pack shells and proton packs. So I guess what I wanted to ask you, because I don't even know the answer, is how did you get started building this stuff?
Well, it started with cardboard and hot glue, pretty much sitting in front of the TV at my grandparents' house, watching real Ghostbusters. And, I was just like, I want one of those proton packs. And, I kind of just threw together some of this, she had Avon boxes, and I took the lid off, and I was like, I could put it back on that. And next thing I knew, I was, cutting out pieces, making all, like, the 3 dimensions. And, eventually down the line, I started doing a lot of these. Like, at the school, everybody was really into them. And I probably made, like, 8 of them when I was a kid. And this was, like, in the 4th grade. But when I got, when I got older, I kind of got out of Ghostbusters for a bit. It wasn't until, like, the early 2000s I found GB Fans, which at that time I believe was called GB Props, and I found that site, and I thought, wow, how cool is that? I used to make those when I was a kid, and I thought about it, and eventually in 2005 I bought my first proton pack from a guy on eBay, and once I got it, it was cool. It was vacuum form shell, but I was like, man, honestly, I think I could build this, and I just moved back to Massachusetts, and so I had this nice little shop set up in the basement, and just kind of went to town making my first shell master, and I was made completely out of foam. And I sat on it for a number of years. I didn't just jump right into it at that point. It wasn't until like 2009 that I finally was like, I should do something with this. And so I invested the money into the silicone. And I was very nervous because it was a lot of money. And,
right.
I was like, man, I'm really taking a shot. But, it was really a hit right off the bat. And I sold like 20 of these things like real fast. And so then the next time I did it, I was like, well, I got to make it a little bit more accurate, because it seems like there's a lot of people out there that really want it accurate. And for the people that really aren't that picky, I mean, hey, it's still a benefit to them, right? It's accurate.
Right.
So, so that's how I progressed on that. And, so that's really got me into it. But I was always into like horror movies and stuff like that. And so I always had a love for like special effects. So I guess that's kind of what helped fuel that too.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. I think we all kind of start, like, I remember when I first started like doing a little bit of research on like building a proton pack way before I ever like knew anything about it, when it was just like Norm and Stefan's plans. And
that was it.
And that was it. And I remember looking at it like, oh, I can't do this.
It's like blueprints. It's like blueprints. You look at it and you're like, I don't have the brain to make this thing.
So it wasn't until like guys like you, Mike, started coming around and actually like, because the way I've always described it to people is like, building your own proton pack now is almost like just kind of putting together a pretty complex puzzle. You can buy all the individual pieces because they're all, you make your shells, you make all the other parts. Like, you can buy these kits, and like, I literally never build anything in my life. My proton pack that I built, my first one with a GB fan shell and, various aluminum and resin parts from other places, that was the first thing I ever built in my life. And it turned out pretty good. So like, for anybody who's ever been like hesitant, like, it can be done.
If Craig can do it, you can do it.
If I can do it, like Jake said, because I don't have the brain, like Jake said, for the blueprints, building it from scratch.
Yeah. If you can like work a drill, then you're fine.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, if you can get all the pieces, you can assemble the pieces, or do the little bit of extra work that's required with the drilling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So Mike, so you started off basically with proton packs. What are some of the other, like, I mean, Ghostbusters or not Ghostbusters related items? Like, what are some of the stuff over the last couple of years that people are really gravitating to that you've been able to get a lot out there?
Well, I mean, mostly I've been doing a lot of the Ghostbuster stuff. I did start recently doing the Ninja Turtle props. I did the ooze canisters, and we're in the process right now also of working on some Ninja Turtle movie replica weapons, and we're almost there. We got one more to finish, and it'll be all set, and then we can reveal our really cool like prop set that we're going to offer for people. It'll be something limited. We're not going to do it forever, but it's just something fun. I personally want something like that hanging up on my wall. I'm sure a lot of other people do. But of course it takes time to make these things too. But we're trying to make sure everything's as accurate. It's been really cool. I somehow became friends with the guy who owns some of the original weapons. So, he's given me some really cool photos. He doesn't really want to give me dimensions so much, but we kind of pulled our own dimensions on how we pulled them. And, they look very, very accurate.
Cool. And so just without revealing too much, would that be like a set where you get like some nunchucks, some size, like a bow staff? Like, are you talking about like that kind of stuff?
Yes. It's going to be all 4 turtle weapons. It's going to be 2 sets of aluminum swords, because the original movie ones were custom made. And then the bow staff, you're going to get the nunchucks, which we've already got the nunchucks. We've got the swords. Of course, we got the bow staff. That wasn't very difficult. And but the size, that's where we're finishing up right now. But we've already, we're having those machined.
Well, cool. I don't want to speak on everybody's behalf, but I want all of that.
Yeah.
Gotta have it.
Well, yeah, it's going to be great. It's all going to be on one big display that you can mount on your wall. I mean, how awesome is that?
I quit.
Yeah.
I should have got, Mike, I need a new hobby.
I need a fireplace so that I can mount those above it.
Yeah, I need a new hobby and a fireplace. So as far as the proton packs, like we talked about this recently, do you find like consistently that's still like what people are gravitating towards when they're coming to your website?
Oh yeah, totally. So, I mean, I never thought that like, I was going to be as busy as I am. I'm been doing this for a long time, but yeah, I mean, I'm still there. I'm still doing it. And like, it's really cool that, a lot of people enjoy the product that we build. I always consider it like art, because we're trying to replicate something that was art in a sense, I mean, but it's such a cool thing to be able to say that, all these people all over the world got, something that I've, had a hand in doing, even if I'm not the one physically building it for them and they're just buying parts. That's just so cool to me. I mean, I get people all over, as far out as like the Philippines, Taiwan, all over the world. And I think a big help to that was definitely Ghost Heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. You were featured in there. And like, that's gotta be pretty cool knowing that your prop shop is featured in a movie that's just released on Netflix internationally. And like, that's basically like a living and breathing advertisement. Like, and I think they signed a 3-year deal. So it's going to be there. Like, I bet you'd get people all the time that find you directly from that movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they hit me up and they're like, oh, I saw Ghost Head, man. I love Janet. And I've always wanted a proton pack. And, it's so cool, too, to build something like this for somebody that, this is something they've wanted throughout, like, all their childhood. Because I know that feeling, and I'm sure you guys know it, too. This is like, oh, man, we got this. And, just to be able to do that and, make these people happy is awesome. But yeah, Ghost Heads is just, it really blew up my business, and I can't be more, I'm so grateful for, Tommy and Brendan, those guys, Lee, for, allowing me to be part of that. And that was really, really a cool experience, and still having the experience,
Yeah. They're very cool guys.
So, and it's funny you mentioned, like, Jake and I have talked about this before, like, I remember the first time, like, I went to Dragon Con or went to a convention, like, the first time I saw, like, a pretty screen-accurate proton pack, and I know Jake and I have had that conversation, like, we didn't even know that was a thing that you could do. Like,
yeah.
Like,
right.
Well, so it's like, and it's funny when you see people's faces, like, we've been around the community for a decade, so, like, it's always impressive to see a nice proton pack, but when you see like a kid or like somebody see one up close for the first time and they see the lights and sounds, you forget like, oh, like everybody does want a proton pack. Like I do. I want one right now.
Yeah.
I want another one.
I want 10. So cool. So another thing that you worked on that a lot of people really enjoyed was that terror dog head. For those people who are not familiar, could you tell a little bit of the backstory about how that project came about?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was on eBay, and that's where it happened to be. And, I kind of looked at it, and I was like, is that really it? And I did a little, photo searching and stuff, trying to match up wrinkles and stuff on it. And from what I could tell, it was. I spoke with the guy on the phone for a bit, and he gave me the backstory. And basically, he told me he worked for a company that bought an auction lot from Boss Films when they went out of business. That company, in the auction lot that they got, it was for like chemicals, and it came with the molds. Well, they didn't want the molds. They threw the molds out, and him and a friend went dumpster diving and resurrected that mold from being destroyed. And
I never find anything cool when I'm dumpster diving.
Right? I know. This guy here, he said he pulled out like a Batman belt. I was like, what? Batman belt. I was like, what the hell is it? This was like a dumpster of gold, in my opinion. I mean, I would have just taken a whole dumpster. You know what I'm saying?
Just hook up. You're just digging
Honestly,
through like.
I would have called a friend over, and we would have been loading everything out of the dumpster, and throwing it in the back of my truck.
That's great.
But yeah, so he made a fiberglass casting of it, and he had sold the 2 flex ones he made on eBay. And by the way, he sat on this for like 20 years. His original game plan, he told me, was to do what I did with it. And it sat in front of his parents' house for like 20 years. I actually had like some rust marks on it. It was like outside. Thank God it was in California, I guess, right? Didn't get too destroyed.
Right.
So yeah, he wound up selling it. I bought it, and then, it took quite a bit of work. We did a lot of, photos. Thank God for Ghost putting that head up and everybody going there, because I got a lot of great photos from it, from people that went and visited their office. And that helped with the horns, getting those things finished, and trying to get a basic paint idea for what we were going to do. But yeah, I mean, that was a big hit. People really loved the T-Dog. I mean, this thing is massive. It's almost 3 feet across from horn tip to horn tip. It comes off the wall like 2 feet. I know one of the guys that bought one from me, he has it hanging above his bed.
Oh boy!
Holy shit!
Right?
It's a beautiful piece.
I sat. it's a beautiful piece. I mean, I would hang it, I mean, I don't know if I'd hang it above my bed.
Yeah, that thing scared me for a few
maybe
weeks.
the bracket gave way, but I mean,
yeah.
but hey, whatever. That's cool.
Like, what a way to go.
Yeah.
Right? I know that is.
Hailed by a
No, you just end up like coming out of the room with the head on your head like Rick Moranis. Just stumbling.
Somebody turn on the light.
Yeah. Although it makes for an interesting first date. Like you bring the lady over and she's like, "Oh, this is above your head," and then you start quoting Ghostbusters, and she probably leaves immediately. Her loss.
Right?
Yeah, her loss. That's right.
So the one that's hanging at Ghost Core is that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an original? Yeah.
Well, that one there comes from the original plaster mold that guy found in the dumpster.
Okay.
So it was made right after production ended as gifts for like Ivan Reitman and some of the other people that produced it. And so yes, there was those made, and then they just threw the mold out after they sold it. So.
Somebody was like, "What do I do with this in my screen use Batman belt? Just throw it in that dumpster." Well, it's really cool that it ended up in your hands and you were able to make that prop. I know.
I'm very thankful because I worry maybe someone might have gotten it and might not have put it out there for everyone else. And so I mean. I just kind of knew I had this thing that I had to do this, and I think a lot of people really wanted this. I mean, it was great. Still, a lot of people still want it. So,
yeah. And I think what's cool is like when it comes to like collecting, especially with like higher end movie props, a lot of people just have private collections and they don't display them and you don't know about them. And like, there's people who own very, very like, valuable and historic pieces of movie history that you just will never see because they're either locked away in a storage facility or a basement, or I can't believe I just said storage facility. So you got to go to their house and
a storage facility. Maybe someone's got a big enough collection that they need a storage facility.
Can I see the storage facility? That's what I'm saying. So cool. So I don't want to not plug your stuff. So we've got carnivorouscreations.com. Obviously, we always tell everybody Karniverous with a K. If somebody wants to buy some of your stuff, what is the best route for them to take?
Well, I do have a web store. I'm not a big fan of the web store I have set up. Horrible for me to say, but I'm eventually going to get something a little better. But always messaging me through Facebook. Go right to the Karniverous Creations page and hit us up, and we're more than happy to help you out.
Cool, because I know you do like payment plans, which are really like we always talk about payment plans are like the best thing for collectors because the stuff is expensive and it's high end, but you give the opportunity for people to who not have to come up with 100% of the money like right up front.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm realistic. I mean, and not everybody's got the money. These are expensive. There's a lot of components, as we've been talking about, to build one of these. So, I mean, obviously they're not going to be cheap. I try to make them as affordable as I possibly can with any of my products that I put out. We're always trying to make sure that they're affordable. But these are different. They're not like manufactured in a facility, somewhere else.
Right.
These are all handmade.
Right. I know that you've worked a lot with the Finchers, who are part of the Georgia Ghostbusters. We know them very well.
Oh yeah,
they are huge advocates of your shells and your work. So it's cool. You've made some really good relationships happen in the prop building, because it is weird. Like the prop building community can be kind of a weird, testy place where like tempers flare. Mm-hmm. You've seen all sorts of stuff over the years. So it's cool to see like positivity coming out of it.
Oh no, definitely so. And like you just said, I mean, I've become really good friends with James and Charles, and they got the e-cig kits. Those things are awesome. And those tend to be the ones we use all the time in our packs, and especially the ribbon cables. I mean, Jesus, you can't get much better than Fincher ribbon cable, right?
Yeah, I know it's funny. Like James Fincher. For those of you who don't know, James Fincher, he's older. Like he's in his 60s, and he's at the PKE Surge table at Dragon Con, like almost like a drug dealer hawking ribbon cables.
Yeah.
Just like.
No, you like that kid?
But it's great, you know. If you got the goods, you know,
yeah,
if the demand is there, we all watch Breaking Bad. We know how this works.
Yeah.
Right. We know.
So funny story, Mike. After Dragon Con, I was on the phone with Jake, and he was like, "Hey, Craig, I'm building a slime blower." And I was like, "Oh, are you?" And I was like, "How are you going to do that?" And you're like, "I don't know, but I'm building a slime blower."
I don't know, but I'm making it happen.
Which is my segue into, you just started this week unveiling. This is a project you've been working on for a long time, right?
Yes.
So tell us, the slime blower, if you're a fan of Ghostbusters, everybody knows it's one of the coolest, most iconic, hard to acquire, hard to build props. So what has the process been like for you? What are you releasing? What's coming down the line? Fill us in.
Okay. Well, I mean, it started out with me doing a build for someone, building the slime blower. And, I've always wanted to build one. Ever since I got into building the proton packs, that was definitely something on my list of things to build, was the slime blower. But obviously few of the hard parts are the tanks, because they're just so big. They're not, it's not something that you can just find. So you got to have to custom build them. And I never wanted cardboard tubes. Now, some people, that's fine with them. You can go that route. That's fine. I prefer something that's a little bit more solid, that's going to last for a while. So after looking around, I found a way to actually make these things, and it's process called Roto Casting, and basically you have a mold, and you pour your resin, your liquid resin into it, and you strap it into a machine called a Roto Caster. And it's kind of like a human gyroscope, one of those things at the astronaut camps, they strap you in the machine and you go spinning in all types of circles. It's all wild like that. So this is a big machine that we built, and this machine here will spin that mold all, crazy 8 style, and the casting resin, as it's starting to cure, it all sticks to the outside wall. So it makes basically like a piggy bank. That's the easiest thing I can say right there. It's just like a giant piggy bank. And we can reinforce that with pouring foam into it, turning the machine back on, and it'll coat the outside walls, make them a little bit more stiffer. But you can get them pretty thick, depending on how much casting resin you put inside of it. So that's one way we're doing the tanks right there. Now, the new product that we just released this week was the slime gun. Now, this thing has been one of the biggest problems for me, and there's a lot of really hard parts, especially the front cone being the most difficult thing to do. And there was a number of different ways. We did build one using a rolling method and welding a ring on, and it just turned out to be a lot of work. And in my opinion, I don't think they would have went this route, trying to do this. I honestly thought that maybe they just found the funnel, and they cut the nose off, and, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Something stupid and simple, but you're never going to find that same cone again.
Right, exactly, because it was just so long ago. And so, I remember when Multimedia did his run, that one time, the 2 times he did that run for the slime guns, that he had mentioned a process called spinning. And so I was intrigued by this, and so I really sought this out, and eventually I found somebody that does this in their home shop. And the thing is, it's a lot of automated companies, and I called these companies, and they all want big bucks to do, just to do a master and a prototype. And I was just like, yeah, I ain't going that route, which is why we started going the other way. But once I found this guy, this was the trick, and he got a piece out to me within like a week and a half. He made the front, and after looking at some of his photos, he was making cake pans and stuff with it. I said, well, can you make the rear cap? Because it was pretty much the same thing with the rounded edge and everything. So I made that, and then we got the fin. And I guess the next hardest part was getting the 1/16 inch tubing for the canister part. It's very expensive stuff. We had to order quite a bit of it just to be able to order it, and it had to come all the way from Massachusetts. And then we had to figure out a way to rip it down the middle. And after seeing a couple videos online, I figured out a way to do it, and we created a jig, and we were able to rip that through a table saw and just cut it right down the middle perfectly.
Man,
Sounds complicated.
It sounds like
it was very complicated.
Yeah.
This is why it's taken years, and I'm super picky. I want it to be as accurate as possible. You know what I'm saying? With obviously everything, there might be a couple things that need a little tweaking, and we will get to those things there. But right now, this is it, and I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's sitting right on my desk in my office, and I mean, this thing is just amazing to look at and hold in my hands because it's just been something so long I've wanted to have, and I finally got it right here, and I'm looking at it. And, like I said, everything that we did, we tried to make it the best product we could with doing the spinning for the nose cone and the rear cap. And one of the benefits for it is there's no welding involved. It's just formed out of a flat piece of aluminum spun in a circle. And, there's a master copy behind it. You kind of forge this thing into shape. And so there's no welding of the ring onto it. It just slots right on. I mean, this thing is amazing. And definitely people that are placing orders with us for it are going to really get something that is truly amazing.
So
I can't stress the word amazing enough, by the way.
Amazing.
Sounds amazing.
Complicated and amazing. So you can buy the gun as a kit or a completed gun, and is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'm offering 2 options. So it's just basically the kit is a breakdown of just all the custom metal parts that you would need, minus the black boxes, the tubing, the red tubing, nylon strapping with all those parts. And the quick connects. I'm not supplying those in that.
Okay, and we can look forward to the tanks coming. Like, are you going to do a run of tanks down the line, or is that just going to be
Yeah, we've already offered a pre-order, and we're just finishing up those right now. And once those ship, we will start offering them again for sale, and those will be available. We probably keep them available on our store all the time. So that's my thought right at the moment.
Cool.
It depends on what else we've got coming in the near future, because we are trying to do some non-GB props too, just like how we're doing the Ninja Turtles. We've got some other movies that, we know are fan favorites, and nobody's out there doing them.
Cool. Well, I know we're all ready to see that stuff. I mean, I think it's really cool. Like more than ever, like I said, we've been going to Dragon Con, which is the big convention we go to every year. We've been going for a decade. I've never seen more good looking proton packs than I did this year. Like, it used to be like, you'd see like 50 proton packs or 30 proton packs, and like 10 of them would be good, 3 of them would be amazing, and the rest would kind of be like, whatever. And it's gotten to the point where people like you're putting out stuff that allow people to have really great equipment. So thank you is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I'm just happy that I'm able to do this and, kind of make a bit of a living doing it. I mean, I'm not rich. Don't get me wrong. I'm not rich. But, I mean, I'm happy just doing this. And, it's a 7-day-a-week thing almost for me. But I enjoy it a lot. And I'm glad it brings a lot of joy to other people. And they're able to bring joy to other people on top of that.
Jake, what were you going to say?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna mention what you were talking about, going to Dragon Con and seeing proton packs, and it's like you always think, like, throughout the year you look at your pack and you're like, yeah, I got a fucking proton pack, and then you see like, your packs, and I'm like, I need to upgrade my proton pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. Now,
well, you can do it at a reasonable price.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we talked about, if you want to head over, check out your stuff, go to your Facebook page, Karniverous Creations. The one thing I like to ask folks in your position, what is your dream project? Like, if money wasn't a barrier, if time wasn't a barrier, if acquiring a rare piece of equipment wasn't a barrier, what would be your dream prop that you would want to tackle? Ghostbusters or non-Ghostbusters?
Dream prop that I would want to tackle? Oof. I mean, yeah, it was always the proton pack, but I mean, I guess I really don't know. I think it is the proton pack. I've achieved that. I couldn't think of anything else that I'd really want to do. Maybe it's the slime blower. Maybe I just achieved it just now.
Look at me. I'm achieving things.
Honestly, on the teasing thing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'd like to build the Freddy Claw next.
Freddy Claw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, Freddy Claw.
All right.
That'd be cool.
Freddy Claw.
I mean,
I've always been a big Freddy Krueger fan, so that's how my horror movies are my thing. I've been a big horror fan since I was a kid. So
very cool.
Freddy Claw.
Very cool. Well, listen, I have to ask you then, since you're a fan of horror, we're going to be talking about it in just a little bit. Have you seen Hereditary?
I have not seen Hereditary yet.
You gotta check it out. If you're a fan of horror, it just came out on Blu-ray.
Find a friend, watch it with you.
Yeah, what? Yeah. I'm
gonna let my wife know, and we're gonna sit down. We'll have to get it and watch it then.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Just emotionally prepare yourself for the fall.
Are you looking forward to the new Halloween?
Yes, I've already pre-purchased my Michael Myers mask, and I'm looking at getting myself a nice set of coveralls to wear. But I don't know if that's what my actual costume for Halloween will be at the moment. I might be going something a little bit more corny, and I might be teaming up with my daughter and going in with her, and I'm going to be a villain for PJ Masks. So.
Oh, okay.
For what?
A PJ Masks. I've heard of that.
Okay,
this is
cool.
my costume. Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
That's
yes.
fun. Hey, you can save the Michael Myers for your alone time.
Yeah.
Like we've all.
I mean, it's as cool as a costume as it is. I'd be kind of a short Michael Myers. I don't think I'd pull it off. I'm like 5'8", dude.
Yeah, that's my problem always. Like I wanted to do
that doesn't seem very intimidating.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to do a Batman '89 costume. I was like, well, Michael Keaton was only 5'9". I can get some lifts and almost get there.
There you go, right?
Hey, you
get
can do
the
it.
pumps on.
I'll just get the belt that was found in the dumpster, a pair of high heels, and I'll be good to go.
Oh, you'll be
good to go.
Good. That's
Oh,
exactly.
there you go.
I like it.
Well, listen, Mike. We appreciate you having. Let's make sure we have you on more often, so you can update on us.
Oh yeah, I'd be more than happy to come on
all the stuff that you got going on. And we'll make sure to put up all of the links to your stuff. We'll be very much looking forward to the Ninja Turtles props. I know that's going to be like a day one order for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, I mean, there's nothing better than the first and the second, not so much the third, Ninja Turtles.
Hey, I like it.
They ruined that one.
Yes.
Yeah, we just did a whole episode a bonus episode for our Patreon subscribers on breaking down Ninja Turtles 3. It was pretty fun.
I had to watch it
I think
twice.
they just didn't wear the full costumes to save on money. That's why they put over the other
There was
ones.
some corners being cut.
Yeah, like Abby,
Sure.
like Jake pointed out that you only see half a Splinter the whole time. He's just like
Splinter's like hidden behind something.
he's just behind a desk.
He has no legs.
Yeah.
And
But,
their fingers have no
I
articulation
still
either.
think they need to go back to that old school style. We need people in costume.
Oh, yeah, I
we
totally
agree.
agree.
We
Practical
agree.
all the way.
We could not agree more. Well, listen, Mike, we appreciate it. We'll get those links up. And if anybody out there needs a proton pack part, a slime blower, or anything along those lines, make sure you're checking out Karniverous Creations. Mike Nelson, thank you very much for stopping by.
Later.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
I thought you were going to go into your Carniverous Creations commercial that we have.
No, that's already played.
Proton Pack. Gotcha. I know
That's
it well
already
now.
out there. All right, Mike, have a good one, dude.
Later, dude.
All right.
Yeah, later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I just put it next to the dead pigeon head I was drawing.
Jake was whispering stuff to me during that entire interview. I felt like I was in Hereditary. He's like, bring up the slime blowers.
I was literally drawing the hereditary symbol.
I was whispering something, but I can't remember. But it was related to what we were saying. I can't remember what it was.
Jake's the.
Oh no, it was. It was whenever we were talking about the Pterodog head like landing on you and killing you.
Yeah.
I was like saying something about your last words being like, "Bring me my proton pack."
Could you imagine a Pterodog head falls on your head, so you get out a proton pack and you basically commit suicide by putting a proton gun to your head.
No.
It just got dark. Hello, everybody.
That's the way to go.
Thank you so much to Mike Nelson for stopping by and talking about his props. I was getting so stressed. I was like, I want all this stuff as he was talking about it.
Me too. Me too. Jesus Christ.
I know. I want that.
I do
side.
like-
I
want
was
an extra
like
side.
looking at pictures of slime blowers while he was talking about it, and I was just like, "Fuck, I'm never gonna have a slime blower."
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. Before we get going on the fuck budget, we're covering a lot of ground, so I want to make sure we get to it. I did want to talk about real quick Patreon. So we launched Patreon a couple months ago. We've been doing these bonus episodes. We just recorded a bonus episode tonight talking all about Universal Studios and all the rides that aren't there anymore and why we're so sad about it. Jake, I'm sad. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm very sad.
He's very sad.
We had to take a little break because I had to do a little sad cry.
Had to get a snack.
I got a snack because I was sad.
So if you want to get in on these bonus episodes, sad snack. If you want to get on these bonus episodes,
it was just crackers.
Can I do my thing? Yes. Can I fucking talk?
You can do your thing.
If you want to get in on these bonus episodes.
If you want to get on it, abusive host. Hold on.
You want Craig to yell at you.
Stop the audio. God damn it, Jacob Walsh. I work too hard and I have put too much money into this thing. If you want to get on these bonus episodes, let's go to NPR style. If you want to get in on the bonus episodes, join us. Yes, have some. Patreon.com/yes, have some. For $10 a month, you can get 2 to 3 bonus episodes per month. Plus, we got the quarterly newsletter is going to start going out. We've got the YHS VHS Club. We just put out our VHS commentary for Twister, and all the people that are in the $25 or above tiers got a brand new sealed copy of Twister unused in the mail, and a Yes Have Some coffee mug with logo designed by Jacob Walsh. So what we're saying is, we love our listeners. We appreciate your support. If you want to get the absolute, full, unfiltered Yes Have Some experience, head to Patreon for as low as $1 a month. You can help us, and we cannot stress enough, the dollars that you give us absolutely 100% go back into the podcast. It helps us do our YHS Collectors Club for the $50 tier, helps us keep the lights on, as they say, pay the hosting, pay the website, and hell, maybe even get a couple Diet Cokes every now and then, because I'm thirsty. I did a lot of talking. No, it really does help. And I know I don't want to speak for you guys. I never want to do. But Jake, I've been having a lot of fun with Patreon so far.
Yeah, me too. It's really fun doing these bonus episodes because I feel like we can... they can be about whatever we want them to be about. They don't have to be current. They can be a little, deep cuts.
Yeah.
A little sillier. And we get to talk about fucking like we did a commentary for Twister, and that was super fun. Yeah. So I want to keep being able to do that stuff, and we can't if nobody's like paying. Well, I mean, we could, but there's no point in doing it if nobody's paying for it and listening to it. So please.
Get on there.
Do it again.
Don't make us beg. Hey, mister, give me $1. Ooh, we should make a meme for our Patreon with that guy.
Yes.
We should.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do that costume. Single earring. Bum.
Every week. We're going to do this every week. Well, we were just talking to Mike Nelson from Karniverous Creations about how when they found the Terror Dog mold in a dumpster, they also found a Batman belt. I wanted to know more about that. Yeah. Are we talking about like a...
Who's got that thing now?
Yeah.
Where's the belt?
Yeah, where's the belt?
Where's the belt?
Call him back.
Mike, where's that belt? Who are you?
Belt.
I'm Belt Man. Oh, I'm Belt Man. Craig.
Michael Keaton has that belt.
Yeah.
And he probably wears it to bed.
Well, say Michael Keaton's name 3 times. Maybe he'll just show up on the podcast.
Whoa. Candyman style?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking
Beetlejuice.
Hey, I was thinking Beetlejuice, but okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Wait, I get it.
I just watched Candyman last night, so I got it on the brain.
The Candyman can.
Wrong Candyman.
Sorry. I'm hyper.
Oh, yeah. Can I have some of that Coke? Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not the other Coke.
No, I was being serious.
Oh, it's empty. See? I proved it.
You really do have all the caffeine.
Thank you so much for all of our patrons. And if you want to get in on the Patreon and the bonus episodes and figure out why I'm so damn hyper, go to patreon.com/yeshavesome. Now that we've said all that, now that we've talked to Mike for Karniverous Creations, are y'all ready to do this fuck budget?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's
do it.
Cool. We are moving in to the month of October, which means we're going to start talking about some horror movies. We're going to have new guests on. We're going to be covering in depth. Remember last year we did Nightmare on Elm Street. We did Child's Play. Who knows what we'll do this year? I think we're going to be doing Scream. I think we already decided that.
I'm watching Scream tonight. So.
It's going to be a Scream and Scream. I'm just quoting the Nutty Professor at this point. So I wanted to talk about some horror with you guys. I wanted to go over some current subjects. That's what the Fuck Budget's all about. We take 5 topics going on in pop culture, movies, and toys. Abby and Jake allocate how many fucks they give about each one. They only have 10 fucks in the fuck bank, and they can't spend more fucks than they have, because that would be irresponsible.
Yeah.
We should issue Fuck Budget credit cards, so you guys could just borrow fucks from future episodes.
I like that.
God, we would all be just fucking...
So in debt?
It would be bad.
Yeah. I'd be calling you guys like bill collector at 3 a.m. Hey, you owe me 100 fucks. Out of context, that's a really weird thing to call somebody and say.
It is, yeah.
You owe me 100 fucks, and I'm not leaving till I get them.
I like it.
Y'all ready?
Yes.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I'm buying some time because I'm looking for my Fuck Budget itinerary.
Here.
I got it.
Good.
Guys.
Hey.
We're very professional.
Host of the podcast.
Host of the podcast. Number 1 in the Fuck Budget. Hereditary. It's out. It's on Blu-ray. We've all finally seen it. Abby and I were late to the party. When it comes to what I'm going to call one of my favorite horror movies, I don't know, ever?
Possibly, yeah.
Jacob Walsh, how many fucks do you get for Hereditary?
Oh, boy. I gave it 6.
Dang.
That's a record.
$6.
Put out the whistle.
Because is this the best horror movie made in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years? Yeah, I think so. This movie's good. This movie is very, very good. It's Craig, something you said to me
we're
yesterday
gonna get
on the phone.
I just got to put it out there. We're about to get super spoiler heavy. If you have not seen this movie,
Pull out.
Yeah, fuck everybody. It's spoilers for sure.
Okay.
Something you said to me on the phone, Craig, I think it was yesterday, was that Hereditary is like what the Conjuring movies wishes they could be. Like, The Conjuring is like the bootleg version of Hereditary. This movie is terrifying. It's scary. It's tense. It is super well acted. It's not just like a regular jump scare, run of the mill fucking Conjuring universe pile of garbage. It is a real movie. It is building. It's just fucking terrifying. I saw this movie in the theaters twice, and I think I was more scared the second time I saw it, knowing what was going to happen. It just has such a creepy atmosphere. It's just, there's something about this movie that makes me feel like I'm getting scared talking about it.
Yeah.
This movie's great. It was just such a refreshing thing to see. It was so good. 6 fucks.
Fuck. Well, if it's my turn, I wanted to give it more fucks. I gave it 4. I had to pull a fuck back because of other things. But yeah, I couldn't get this movie out of my head. I could barely sleep last night. I remember at one point Craig was like, "Turn the lights on," because it was dark in the room. And it's like, dude. This movie was amazing. It is well acted, like you said, Jake. And it's the music, I don't know if you call it a score, but whatever that reverb, back and forth of it's techno something, it gets in your goddamn under your skin. It makes your heart rate go up. This movie reminded me of The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby, which are both movies that I really like and that really get under my skin in that same way. Having grown up in the church, anything with demonic possession and satanic stuff, there's that part of me that's still I don't know, could it just strikes a chord. But beyond that, this movie plays on all of my anxieties. It triggers every OCD thing, with the little girl and her not epileptic, but the peanut allergy reaction, and of course that big moment where the decapitation scene that came out of fucking nowhere. I had no idea what this movie was about. I heard there were ants in it, and that was all I knew.
That's the only. Abby's there's ants in it.
Ants in this movie.
I might not watch it.
Yeah. So as it unfolded,
is there uncles? Because I need both.
Hereditary. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was fucking. absolutely, like the images were jarring, and the way that it unfolds, it opens up and you're like, oh, this is just probably like a normal family with a few issues, and then like within minutes you're like, no, this is weird, something is off kilter, why is this guy smiling at the funeral, what the fuck is wrong with this girl, there's some weird shit going on. And it ties into like demonic possession and like very cool feeling like The Exorcist, grounded in like biblical Book of Solomon names and shit that's like you can research it on the internet. It almost feels real, so it's cool.
As we're talking about this, I realized that I really want to I want to watch this movie again and take a deep dive on it and maybe do like a full episode dedicated to this movie because there's so many. It's definitely the kind of movie that deserves a couple rewatches because you'll start picking up on stuff. I was just thinking about it earlier today. There's the first time that Toni Collette, who's the main actress, who's fucking awesome in this movie, when she goes to the grief counseling and she's kind of giving the brief summary of her family history, and she says her brother killed himself because he was convinced that her mom was trying to put people inside him. That's what happened. Her mom was
actually happened.
Because they needed the male body. And the fact that Charlie, is that the girl's name, was basically possessed since she was born. But it was never going to pan out for her because they needed, the male. So the movie deserves a deep dive discussion. There's a lot of like philosophical stuff you could talk about. There's a lot of religious stuff that you could talk about. But high level, from the pure stance of a well-made horror movie, what I said to Abby when I was done watching it was like, this movie, as somebody, I have anxiety, I've suffered from panic attacks. This felt like I was watching a panic attack for 2 hours. Like it was so uncomfortable for reasons that aren't 100%, like you can't really, like right when the movie opens and the
fact that you can't put your finger on it is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is happening to me. Like whatever's happening in this movie is real.
It does. What I love about it is that there are some things in this movie that you could put in the bucket of traditional horror tropes, like seeing an apparition.
Yeah, there's a few things for sure. Seeing
an apparition or with the chalk on the chalkboard, but it's done just in a different way that again is hard to put your finger on. But it's not like when you're watching Paranormal Activity, Yeah. Like Abby said,
all horror films have the same ingredients, or the genre does. You have to hit certain notes, but like I think Stephen King said, it's like we could all make scrambled eggs. It's all in what the ingredients that you put in and like how you make it your own.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was like really fucking well made. Like, no, it may not be the most original shit to have a possession story, but like there were so many fresh and different and distinct frightening things.
It's told in such a different way. There's elements of it that actually reminded me of True Detective season 1 a little bit. The most frightening, there's a couple things in there that are absolutely terrifying. Maybe we can all talk about what we thought was the scariest part and then move on to the next part of the fuck budget. When Annie, the mom, is on the ceiling, banging her head against the attic door.
Fuck.
That was like, oh, this is like The Exorcist. This is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. All the naked, shadowy people and like just...
Oh, see, naked shadow people don't bother me as much.
You're fine with that, okay.
Because like you see those in the neighborhood. Jake, was there anything?
Do you?
We do.
Yeah, I do. Because I'm the king.
I did think
I'm Gaiman.
There's a scene. There's two things in particular, and one of them has to do with one of the naked, shadowy people. There's a scene where the kid is downstairs looking at his dad's burned up body, and the mom is like on the ceiling in that point, I think. But he like looks, something happens. I think she runs away, but he looks over towards the door and there's somebody standing in the doorway. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the person who's got the big smile on their face.
Yeah. The guy who looks like Judge Doom once he becomes a fucking cartoon again.
Yeah. That is pretty creepy. But also, I think the thing that is the worst thing is when the mom is just sawing her own head off.
Oh, fuck. God damn it. I think I forgot that whole part. But that noise and how it gets faster.
And she's like staring at the kid. just fucking sawing her head off. And I'm like, just the look on her face as she's doing that it's scary.
It's what I told Abby is like this. It felt like the most fucked up episode of Everybody Loves Raymond that I'd ever seen. Have you guys seen the Mondo for Hereditary? It's pretty cool. It's basically the treehouse with like a white silhouette, a white headless silhouette.
Oh, word.
It's a total spoiler if you hadn't seen it, but
dang.
But that's your fault. So.
But that's your fault. I think the scene I had the most trouble with was when she was like basically suffocating from the allergic reaction, and she's in the back of the car, and like the tension is building where something's about to happen. Like this isn't going to end with them just getting to the hospital and like everything being okay.
No, because you sense it as the road stretches out and there's no lights as he hits the gas harder and harder. And like that very moment of where he's realizing that his sister is dead and like half of her body's in the back of his car and like he's frozen. Like that's a moment that I've like lived out in nightmares before. It's like a terrifying thing. And that was one of the scarier moments.
Yeah. Also, if you want to talk about, Craig, anxiety and talk about like feeling like you're watching a panic attack, the scene where you're just watching the kid in bed while you can hear the mother going out to the car and finding the body because, he just decides not to tell anybody.
Yeah. That's like the classic teenager. If I just ignore the problem, maybe no one will figure it out. The director, Ari Aster is his name. He said in an interview that he has an idea for what he called an extremely unorthodox sequel to this movie. Now, I don't necessarily think this movie needs a sequel. I think I'm fine with it, but directors got to direct. Maybe we can explore that another time, but when he says unorthodox, I wonder what does that mean? Like,
the origin of payment and other attempts.
To me that seems like maybe it could be something where I don't want to say in tone this is the same, but kind of in the way that the first two Cloverfield movies are sequels to each other. They kind of have nothing to do with each other.
Right,
but they're kind of set in the same world. Maybe that kind of thing.
You've met Payman. Now meet his roommate, who has no patience. Payman, come clean your room. I love that. I was reading about Payman today, in Satanism and witchcraft and other macabre and occult. Thank you.
There you go.
Goes of worshippers, Mesopotamians, big difference. I always bring it back. Hittites. Wait, what's that from?
Isn't that?
Oh yeah. God, Peter Venkman's so stupid. He can't even read.
Hittite. He just wanted to smell Dana's hair.
He really did. What I'm saying is, the lore that was used in this movie is based in actual literature, and because of that, there's probably a lot of cool directions they could go. This movie did well in the box office, but it's not like, I think maybe they thought it was going to be one of those movies that like it just caught fire, but this was really interesting, and we'll move on. Critically acclaimed, like all the critics absolutely love this movie. The cinema score rating, which is basically like people go see it and they give their opinion. The average movie going audience did not love this movie. And that's because people are stupid. And that's because the average movie going public are the fucking people who want to watch Transformers Part 8 and The Conjuring Part 4. So fuck those people. I kind of liked it, but there was no Infinity Stones. And that made me mad.
Yeah.
Jake, I feel like you're getting really upset right now. So we're just going to move on.
I am. Let's move on.
All right, cool. Well,
to something fun.
Superman is leaving town. That's my new Superman song. Reports came out today that Henry Cavill is done with the DCEU. They are trying to get him at some point to do a cameo in the Shazam movie. Talks fell through. They couldn't figure out. This is almost as bad as what we were talking about in the bonus episode. The creative differences of the Twister intro video at Universal Studios.
Yeah, they couldn't get him for a cameo.
They couldn't lock down the Henry Cavill cameo. He probably grew his mustache back and caused a goddamn riot at WB.
One of the so I think he got fired. I don't think he left. Like one of the articles today was saying that they let him go.
I will before we do this fuck budget, there was a lot of articles today about this. There were some conflicting reports. I'm going to go on record there's a lot of problems with Warner Brothers and the DC universe on film. I don't think Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman is like in the top 10 of those problems.
I don't either. I thought Henry Cavill as Superman was the best part of Justice League.
You heard it, guys? Write down this timestamp and day. When the annals of history are revealed, this is the moment that Jacob Walsh said something positive about
Wednesday, September 12th.
Wow, this is the new 9/11. Yeah. When people say never forget, they'll be talking about this. All right, let's do this. Abigail Gardner.
Yeah.
When it comes to Henry Cavill leaving and replacing him, possibly one of the names being floated around is Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And also, the report is saying that DC views Superman like James Bond. They're just going to replace him every couple of years. How many fucks do you give about any of this bullshit?
Honestly, because I like Michael B. Jordan and because this may open up the chance for a Supergirl movie, which is what I was reading, I give this one good riddance fuck. Because I care a little bit, but I mean, I want them to do better. I want to enjoy their movies. I didn't enjoy Henry Cavill. I understand Jake's being kind to him because, I mean, those movies have so many issues that maybe he wasn't the biggest one. I don't know who they're going to cast. Michael B. Jordan would be great. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the fact that Clark Kent is like the same as James Bond. I guess there have been a lot of people who have played him, so whatever. Maybe they'll find somebody better, but it sounds like they're retooling and they're trying to hit the reset button on everything, which I support because it needs it desperately. So yeah, that's just one fuck from me. And also, is Kevin Smith doing that Supergirl movie? Probably not.
Probably not.
No, he never.
Hey, he'd probably do well.
Yeah.
Maybe. Jake, how many fucks do you give?
I gave this 0 fucks. I don't give a fuck about I wish DC would do something to make me give a fuck because I like just like Abby you just said, like I like comic book movies. I never really loved Superman, but I've always gone to see the movies even before, like, you know, when they did, what was it, Superman Returns or whatever. Like, I like comic book movies. I like superheroes. I want to have fun and see. I want these movies to work. I like the Marvel films. It's sad at this point that Marvel is doing so well and DC is doing so bad. And I know that it's not representative of like DC's characters or their comic books or any of that stuff. Like there's good stories out there and there's all kinds of great stuff they could be doing. And I want them to be doing that, but they're not. And there's so much weird bullshit happening that I just don't give a fuck about it anymore. I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean...
Hey, predictions. Hey, here's a prediction. Henry Cavill's going to end up in the Marvel Universe soon.
Yep.
Whoa.
He's gonna be a phase 3 or whatever. He's gonna show up.
Redemption.
Hey, he's gonna be playing Star-Lord.
He might be directing.
Henry Cavill's directing Guardians 3.
He's basically what they're saying. Henry Cavill. I didn't see the new mission. Oh God, Men on a Mission Impossible. That's a new thing I just made up. I didn't see the new MI6, but apparently he was great in it, and he just signed on for a new Netflix series called, I think, Witcher, which is based on a video game property.
Henry Cavill's not the problem. Like he's not their problem with. I know a lot of people didn't love his Superman, but he's not the problem. The writing's the problem. Like the direction is the problem. I think I know a lot of people thought Man of Steel was like too dark and Superman's not supposed to be so like moody or whatever. I think they kind of tried to fix that in Justice League, and that's why I was saying was the one thing that whenever he comes back, I was like, oh, this seems like this is what Superman's supposed to be like. He's having a good time here. But I don't think it's Henry Cavill. That's not the problem. Like, just getting a new actor isn't going to solve all your fucking issues. Like, that's not the problem here. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Fuck these guys.
Because like Ben Affleck's more than likely out as Batman too. They've been working on this Batman reboot for a while. Jake Gyllenhaal said today that he wants to be Batman, but he wants it to be directed by the guy who did La La Land. Like,
okay.
Which I'm like, okay, do it. Go for it. Because that guy also directed Whiplash.
Yeah, I like La La Land. I like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Do that.
So who knows? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. All I know is there's an Aquaman movie that's coming out. The Flash movie's supposed to be coming out. Wonder Woman's filming right now.
Flash ain't happening. I'm surprised anything is happening past the fucking
Aquaman's slated to come out in like a month. Is there a chance that just doesn't?
I forgot about it.
Is Aquaman gonna be the fucking final nail in the coffin?
I have a feeling they know it is. Like,
I hope nuclear war breaks out before we have to watch Aquaman.
I literally, when you said the Aquaman, I was like, oh, that movie isn't out yet, and I had like a little giggle because like I know it's.
Dude, let's all go see Aquaman on opening night. Let's wear the shirt that Jake just made up that he doesn't know yet, that I want to get printed in bold font. It just says, "Hey DC, make me give a fuck," and we'll see how bad it is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan, sure. Jake's right. It doesn't matter what actor it is. I mean, it does, but that's not the biggest issue here.
I think they're trying to pull him because Black Panther was so big and his character was killed off in that movie. So
yeah, but also, like, I don't care. I think anybody can play anybody. If you want to get Michael B. Jordan to play Superman, great. If you want Idris Elba to play James Bond, great. Let actors act. Let these characters grow and evolve.
Hey.
Hi.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say,
sorry.
I don't know if DC, I hope they don't play it safe, but they just need to do something smart. Just do something smart. I don't know what that is, but
I saw an article online today already, and they were like, now that Henry Cavill's out, it is time for DC to do the right thing here and hire Nicolas Cage to play Superman.
Oh my God, yes!
Agree.
I'm for it. I'm 100. Like, if they do that, I'll give some fucks.
Dude,
that would be fucking smart.
I thought you were gonna say some troll website was like, they got to do the right thing and let a woman play Superman. Like, you know what? Hey, I would take it.
Somebody, hey, you know what the funny thing is? Somebody's pitching that to DC right now.
Here's the thing.
Superman, but it's a woman.
It's a woman. Okay. Somebody at work was okay, I'm very hesitant when I hear people's ideas out in the world because I'm pretty sure they're just regurgitating something that they heard somewhere else. But somebody at work today said that their idea for a Black Widow movie was basically Die Hard at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, but it's Black Widow. And I was like,
that's cool.
I was like, I like that. There's no way that was your idea. There's no way that this guy came up with that idea.
Yeah, that was another podcast.
Because I was like, oh, I like that. That's not your idea. Because that sounds like one of my ideas. My ideas rule. Your ideas suck, mister. Actually, it was okay. So, okay, cool. You guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
Let's do it, yeah.
Dude, we've been talking about Universal Studios a lot lately. Halloween Horror Nights is here. It's coming up. We're going to try to get down there this year. There's a bunch of new scare zones. There's a bunch of new haunted houses. We went last year, had the time of our lives. Jacob Walsh, when it comes to the lineup for Universal Studios Orlando Halloween Horror Nights, how many fucks do you give?
I gave it 2. It seems like this year maybe there's a smaller amount of like. So they always do kind of a half and half where like some of them are based on movies, and then some are just like made up.
Right.
I don't have the numbers like in front of me or the numbers for the previous years. It seems like this year the amount of like known properties is a smaller number, but the the houses that they're making up sound really fun. Like they sound like they're going to be really cool this year. Man, I give it 2 fucks. I wanted to give it more, but like I don't know if I'm going to be able to go this year. It's so fucking it's like October is about to happen and like this last month was such a huge, like, it was such a busy month for me. And I'm just like, am I going to even be able to go to this? But there's a Killer Clowns like scare zone, and there's a Chucky scare zone, and there's an actual trick or treat house this year. And
yeah,
like last year, it all sounds really good to me. Like it sounds like there's a good mix of houses happening, and I want to go. I do want to go.
Cool.
2 fucks.
2 fucks. Abigail.
It would have got more if fucking Hereditary didn't get 6, but you know.
Ooh, they should do a Hereditary house. No, they should.
A Hereditary scare zone. I want that.
Abby's yelling at me about the fucks.
Guys, I agree with you on everything you just said, Jake. I give it 3 fucks because I had that to give, and I'm excited about all of it. I read the details on all those scare zones. The Chucky scare zone sounds awesome. I love that Trick or Treat's getting its own house because that was by far my favorite part of the whole experience last year. And you got a Halloween house. I've never seen Poltergeist, but I think I probably should before.
Oh yeah, that's probably the one I'd be most excited about.
Yeah.
The Poltergeist house. That's an amazing movie.
Yeah, so that's on my list to see. And also, I'm stressed because I want to get tickets and I want to go, and we have done a lot in the last couple weeks and months. So
I don't know. Wait, I'm going.
You're just gonna go.
I'm just gonna be in the Stranger Things scare zone by myself with my 11 wig on and my waffles, and you guys are gonna be jealous.
Dude, they're serving the waffles with the whipped cream and like the Reese's Pieces and stuff. They have like themed food this year.
I'm gonna be having the time of my life. Couple thoughts. I'm gonna go through these haunted houses. You got the Stranger Things house. God damn it. The internet's screwing up. Here we go. I got it. Okay. Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. That is a pretty obscure haunted house. I'm into it.
Yeah, but that's because I think they try to do, like last time they did a Halloween house, I think it was Halloween Part 2.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to just go through them, I think.
Halloween 4 is kind of a fun movie. It's better than 5, but it's, it's whatever. Cool. Poltergeist, we talked about. Trick or Treat, I think that's going to be amazing. And then, like Jake said, there's a couple that are like made up just specifically for the event. Well, they got the Horrors of Blumhouse. I know it's whatever. That's like Happy Death. Hey, Jake, have you seen Happy Death Day?
No.
Everybody's talking. We should all watch that. Put that on the list. And then so on. Revenge of Chucky Scare Zone. I think what they should do, they should just play Seed of Chucky, because that's scary.
Make you watch it.
You have to. Oh, cool! Let's check out this scare zone. Fuck! I had to watch a 2-hour movie. The park's closed. Killer Clowns. So there's some cool stuff. And then of course, I think one of the coolest aspects of Halloween Horror Nights is that you can roam around the park till 2 a.m, and it kind of feels like you're breaking rules. And like last year, we all hung out at Diagon Alley, and it was just way less crowded than normal, and I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So if any listeners out there work for Universal or have an in on some ticky ticks, hit us up. We'll send you some
a mug or something.
We'll send you a cat, some merchandise, coffee mug.
A cat.
We'll send you a cat. We got some cats. Listen, if you work
some extra cats.
If you work at Universal, or if you have a hookup on ticks, message me on Facebook or at yeshavesomecast@gmail.com, and we will take you out to...
We'll work something out.
We will take you out to a classic Yes Have Some big dinner in Orlando.
Yeah, I'd buy
Once you come up with the tickets, not beforehand. Okay? We're not just going to buy you dinner and then be stranded like on prom night. Okay. Or prom night revisited. Horror joke. You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Candyman, remake, reboot, something. Jordan Peele, you know him. He's one half of the famous comedy duo Abbott and Costello. I really don't like my
joke. Yeah.
Do you guys like my joke? Yeah. Do you guys like my joke?
I really did.
Okay. Yeah. The reason why it's funny
get better the longer we go.
Candyman is supposedly being remade by Jordan Peele. Obviously, he's an extremely talented filmmaker. He did Get Out, critically acclaimed. Maybe that movie was overhyped, maybe it wasn't, but it was still pretty cool to see a horror movie being nominated for Best Picture, just putting it out there.
I liked it.
Candyman is a movie I haven't personally seen in about 25 years. But Abigail Gardner, I'm going to ask you first.
Now, you know what? I give this one fuck even though I haven't seen Candyman. I know that Jake's going to judge me, but I like Jordan Peele, and I really liked Get Out, and I just feel like that might be neat, especially after reading the description of the movie, which I plan on watching.
The closest Abby's gotten to seeing Candyman was the first year we all went to Days of the Dead, and we were in an elevator with Tony Todd. You probably didn't even know.
It's pretty neat.
Wow.
It's pretty neat.
That's great.
Yeah. That was my... Hey... Sick Tony Todd story.
Connections.
That was...
Hey, can he get us tickets?
Story.
Never be the same.
Somebody emailed Tony Todd, ask him if he has Universal tickets. Maybe we'll do a Candyman house.
We'll go to dinner.
Jake, how many fucks do you give?
Yo, I gave it 2 fucks. If you're keeping count, that's all of the fucks I have left.
Boy.
I always feel weird about remakes. Like it depends on the situation. It depends on the movie. It depends on who's doing it. I do like Jordan Peele. I do think Get Out I liked Get Out. I do think it was a little overhyped, maybe a little bit. But I really do like him, and I really like Key and Peele. And it just says he's producing it. It doesn't there's no word yet on if he's actually going to be the director here.
And he's doing so many other projects.
That's kind of an iffy thing.
Yeah.
That's an iffy thing. But I think both of you should watch Candyman because I actually watched it last night. I watched Candyman last night for the first time in a long time. And it's very good. It is it's a different kind. It doesn't, a lot of times when you think about all these old movies like this, you just kind of lump them all into a slasher category. And, you think about like the later Nightmare movies, Jason movies, they're all silly. Candyman is not silly. It is scary. There is some shit going on. Like, it is a heavy movie and it's very good. You guys should check it out.
Oh man, yeah, I've seen Candyman. I was obsessed with it for a brief period of time because when I was a kid, I loved playing Bloody Mary. I don't know why.
Yeah,
But what kids play Bloody Mary. Abby's looking at me.
Oh, what is that?
Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you go into the bathroom mirror and you turn the lights off and you say Bloody Mary 5 times, and then I don't know, a demonic spirit is supposedly what is
it's just going into a bathroom with the lights off.
It's kind of the exact same thing as the Candyman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bloody Mary appears.
Okay.
You get a Bloody Mary.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like going to a bar.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Yes.
The Candyman story though, it's pretty unique as far as like it's not just like a slasher movie. There's a little more. It's not just this guy who's coming around and killing people. There's a pretty good story happening. You get some cool, like, just the character of the Candyman in general is a cool, like, bit of backstory, and Tony Todd is great in it. Like, I was thinking, like, when I heard that they're gonna possibly be remaking this, I was like, who's gonna play? I was like, they should just get Tony Todd to come back and do it, because just his voice, like, just listening to him in the movie, he sounds great. He's very scary. So
Jake,
bring Tony Todd back. Or I don't know, like Ernie Hudson could do it.
Ernie Hudson could probably do it, but I'm gonna throw a curveball your way. Nicolas Cage.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, look, the Candyman's here. So
Nicolas Cage for everything.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is the Candyman and the Candyman's victims. He plays everybody. There's no way we need to be saying his name 5 times. That's all I'm saying. That's a terrible impression. I'm going to work on it. Listen, I hope that this happens. Candyman was like always like, when I was a kid and would hang out with my friends and we'd rank like our favorite horror icons, like everybody like Freddy, Jason, Chucky, and I'd be like, I always thought it was like trying to be cool. I was like, oh,
contrarian. What
about Candyman? Oh, you guys haven't heard of it? I guess you fucking suck. I didn't say any of that. I was just like, oh, if you guys seen Candyman, it's very neat. There's sequels to Candyman, right?
Yeah, I think there's 3 of them. I think there's 3 films altogether.
Wow.
Yep.
I just got a message. This is breaking news. HBO, head of HBO calls Netflix the Walmart of streaming services. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Dude, this is the streaming services wars.
Somebody's bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry that you didn't get a little show called, what does Netflix have? Stranger Things. HBO.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. HBO's
Sorry, Westworld season 2 sucked.
Whoa! It's like I never even finished it. I got one episode in.
I didn't finish it either because I fucking couldn't.
I gave the fuck up.
You guys ready for the last fuck budget?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jason Blum of Blumhouse, the horror master of our time.
0 fuck.
Has stated publicly that he would like to revisit Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. But because of the tangled web known as the properties that these movies are tangled in, god damn it, I can't talk. It's hard. You can't just do it.
You don't talk no good.
I don't talk good. Hey, it's just like when dumb Ghostbusters fans are like, I'm going to make a fan film and pitch it to Ghost Corps. No, you're not. Stop it. It's hard to make these movies. I didn't mean to call out everybody. But when it comes to Blumhouse possibly doing Screamer, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jacob Walsh, how many fucks do you give?
0.
Is that only because you have 0 left?
No. I would have given it 0 anyway. I think so. Blumhouse, like I looked through the list of like Blumhouse films today, and I feel like they have put out some good movies. There is a good mix, and it's not even all horror films that they do, but they are like responsible for all the really bad ones that are like just pouring out. But that's not even really like where my 0 fucks comes from. Like, so first of all, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I could give a shit about that movie. Like, I don't.
What are you waiting for?
I
like remake it, do whatever you want. I don't care what happens to that franchise. The Scream is Scream a perfect movie? I think it might be. I think the first Scream is one of those kind of like untouchable kind of like. The franchise altogether, maybe not so much, but that's something that happens most of the time with horror franchises. But I think the first Scream shouldn't be. First of all, it's not. I don't know. How old is that? It came out in 90.
Scream? 96.
But yeah, 96. It's not that old. I don't think it should be. I just don't think Scream should be remade. I don't think it would capture any of the. It won't capture the comedy that's in that movie, the scariness. Like it's just those actors. Like it's just Wes Craven's not around anymore. He's not around, so it's not going to be the same. Like that is a Wes Craven movie, and there's nobody who really writes like that. And I think a remake of Scream is just not. I just don't think it's a good idea. Yeah. It's not a good idea. It's dumb. Don't do it. 0 fucks.
Got it. I give it 1 fuck because if it's not a remake, if it's a revisiting, and because isn't this the studio and like the people behind the new Halloween movie, which I think looks good. I like those trailers.
It is. Well, yeah, it is, but it's also the same studio who's giving you like The Conjuring and fucking all this other bullshit. Like that's why I can't really hold.
Well, because
I can't really
don't.
Say Blumhouse is. Yeah. They've put out such a wide mix of good and bad stuff. Yeah. That's not. I'm trying to not judge it on the fact that it's them.
Word.
Do you think? I kind of agree with that.
I don't think they should remake Scream.
They tried to reimagine Scream with a TV show, and it fucking sucked.
Yeah. I didn't watch much of that or any of it. I watched one episode. Scream 4 was kind of a revisitation, like Scream 4. It's not great. Like it's fun. There's some fun stuff, but like you cannot capture what was magical about the first Scream is everything Jake just pointed out, which is the time it came out. It featured like these young actors, like it like in their primes, right? And then like it was written by Kevin Williamson, who like was about to do Dawson's Creek. Like it just had the right energy, the right vibe. It was the right time for Wes Craven to do something. Like we've talked about how New Nightmare was like the precursor to Scream.
It's a prototype.
Yeah.
And
it's very meta and like a non-annoying way that broken, films that try to be like that are.
Right.
Yeah.
And what Scream did at what happened, Scream kind of reinvented the horror genre. And it's been reinvented a couple times since then, because once the slasher films died down, what became the fad was like the Japanese style, like The Ring and The Grudge, and then from there we got like the Saw, like the torture porn. So movies. Yeah, and then zombie movies. So like we're just not in a place where we're that. I'm not saying it can't be done, because maybe it could be done and be amazing. What I hope they don't do is try to give it the Halloween treatment, which is we're going to ignore the other Scream sequels and this is the real Scream sequel. Because that would just just don't do that. Because Scream 2 is pretty fun, and like Scream 3 and 4 are like whatever, but like they're still fresh in our minds. Like it's not like with the Halloween movies where by like Halloween 5 you're like, okay, this is fucking stupid. So yeah, I know what you did last summer. Do not care about. The first movie's kind of whatever. The second one, I barely remember it. But it's just not. There's not enough there to warrant like retelling that story or revisiting. It would be like trying to remake. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. It definitely was a weaker film. It was kind of imitating, I think, and not really.
It is the.
I loved Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm not gonna lie. I liked watching it at home. I
like
myself.
FPJ. I like SMG.
But
I like JLH.
Quite good.
I like RP. I just did the initials of the entire cast. I am talented.
You are.
Wait a minute, real quick, but then we'll wrap up. I know what you did last summer. Is it the same? Is it the guy they hit that comes back, or is it somebody else?
God, I don't even remember. I think it's the guy they hit.
Well, they did a bad job of hiding him. That's all I'm saying. They should reboot Scary Movie. Do it. Zero fucks. All right, everybody. Well, this was fun. I've got the horror juices flowing. What are we watching tonight?
Dude, I want to watch Scream. That's what I've been saying. But also Candyman. So maybe both.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'll be screaming for the Candyman and Willy Wonka.
Whoa.
That's what I'm watching again for like the 8th time in the last 2 weeks. Why? For going to a convention and being there for 5 days, we sure did watch Willy Wonka a lot. It was on the entire time. Listen, we had a lot of fun. Thanks again to Mike Nelson from Karniverous Creations for stopping by, talking about proton packs. Get Jake a slime blower. And then that's my quest. That's like that's our mission in the video game of life is to get Jake a slime.
Why we started doing what we're doing.
But thank you to him. Make sure you head over to Karniverous Creations and pick up yourself some proton packs. Just a couple. Add 4 to cart. And then for YHS stuff, make sure that you're checking out our Instagram and Twitter at YHS Podcast, the official website, yeshavesomecast.com, where you can find all of Abby's Dragon Con articles. The last one is going up in the next 24 hours.
I mostly wrote about Hereditary, so enjoy it.
It's a low-key Hereditary review.
That's all I can think of.
And then you can find us on Facebook.com/yeshavesomecast, and I would be remiss if I didn't let Abby explain how to get to Facebook group therapy.
First of all, you got to get a Facebook account, and then you search for Yes Have Some Podcast, and you will find our page. You go to that, you scroll down, and you find the box that says Yes Have Some Group Therapy, and you click that.
What is this? I've never once had to scroll anywhere to get to Yes Have Some Group Therapy.
You just go there.
I like that you started off with get a Facebook account. That's like, how does somebody find Yes Have Some Podcast? Buy a phone.
Call us.
Do you have headphones?
Talk to you for an hour.
All right. Thank you for that, Abby. It's become one of my favorite segments.
Good.
For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, thank you so much. Last but not least, if you want to get in on Patreon bonus episodes, head to patreon.com/yeshavesome. We love you. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I got.
We'll go to the park together.
Henry Cavill. Maybe we'll have Henry Cavill on next week.
We might.
Hey, he's not doing anything else, right?
Yeah. But we're just his mustache.
We're talking to Henry's mustache.
I'm all for that.
Oh, God. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Later.